Hey everybody, welcome to our Q&A video that we promised you forever and a day for. We did have quite a few questions from everybody, so we'll just, I guess, get right to it. I guess the number one question that we get from people through this whole thing is, why don't you choose surrogacy? Why don't you go through foster care to adopt a child? You know, there are many older children in the system. Why don't you just take one of those into your home and incorporate them into your family? I think we want to experience, from birth first, and kind of establish our family, and then consider that, especially since we want more than one child. There are multiple avenues, so this is just the avenue we chose now. And do you have anything to add to that? He's a little shy sometimes. That's why I can never get him to be in a video, but here he is. Finally, I convinced him to do this.
You sure did. But as most of you probably already know, we do have one foster child right now, and the plan for her is reunification with her mother, which has turned out to be working in the positive side. Our hearts are all wrapped around her, but she will be going
slowly
home.
Yeah, she's actually on a visit right now, which is why you hear quiet and not the happy bubbly baby in the background you heard probably before. But we have about a month or so left to see her grow.
Also, surrogacy is quite not as definite as private adoption.
Yeah.
So it's and the cost and the laws and
nothing's ever guaranteed, even in a natural pregnancy. So we just kind of have to take that into consideration too. Everybody has a possibility of heartache and stuff, so we're not alone in this. We know that.
The next question is why a mother should choose us over a straight couple.
I get asked this question quite a bit, actually.
I kind of struggled to come up with an explanation as to.
I mean, even like if you take two straight couples, heterosexual couples, why should one be chosen over the other? It's the exact same thing. We have the same kind of love, the same kind of opportunity to offer a child that they might have. So I don't really know how to answer that question, but
I think an expectant mother would choose based on her own values, her own wants for her child.
Mm-hmm.
And if any of you can see that we are just another family, just trying to grow our family here.
Yeah. And kind of leading into that too is we get often asked the question of, that's actually on the list of, what religion would you bring the child up in, or those kind of values. We don't go to church, but we're not against it. We had to go through a home study for this. It was kind of extensive. Asked us every deepest part, every deep question that you could ever ask somebody. And we would just let the child kind of decide. We would offer, to teach the child whatever they wanted to learn. And if they wanted to choose a certain path of religion, that's kind of where it would go.
If a child ever had questions or wanted to explore some avenue of religion, we would welcome it with open arms.
Mm-hmm. I didn't grow up religious. My parents weren't against it either. My friends, I went to church with them a few times. It just wasn't for me. So that might be the case for our child, and they might actually be interested. How did you meet? That's another question that we were asked in the home study, and it's kind of an interesting question.
Brian was out celebrating the end of his pediatric semester in nursing school.
Hardest semester there is, by the way.
Because he learned that he had passed that afternoon, and so he decided to go out with a couple friends.
Unexpectedly. I didn't know that I was going to be getting my final grade that night, so I was just going to hang out with friends, but we decided to go out and celebrate.
And I just so happened to be my single self out with a couple friends as well, out on a local, I think it was a Friday or a Thursday?
It was a Thursday.
It was a Thursday night. And he was just this handsome man across the bar.
And I actually waved to him, thinking he was somebody I knew, and halfway through the wave I realized that this wasn't the person that I knew. So I kind of put my hand down and kind of ignored what I just did, and
I didn't ignore it.
no, I didn't. And I kind of pushed him away a little bit at first, and then kind of got talking, and he's a pretty cool dude, I guess.
And here we are.
Yeah, almost 4 years later, right?
Just about.
Discipline styles. That's a big one that they asked in the home study, because obviously they want to see if we're gonna discipline our child
appropriately. The biggest thing for us is we don't believe in corporal punishment.
Yeah, I think that's what they call it.
Corporal punishment, spanking, hitting,
yeah,
anything like that.
Yeah. Timeouts we would consider. It all is child specific to what works for them. I know that some children don't respond to timeouts.
Redirection is a big one for the younger generations.
Our foster child does well with redirection, so we're very well versed on that. And then we got some fun questions too, so we're gonna kind of incorporate those as well, not just all adoption related.
That one.
We'll get to that.
Okay.
But I think the most fun question we got was, what would you want your child's first concert to be?
And I asked, what kind of music is going to be there in 10 years or 12 years
or however, it could be the Wiggles when they're 3. But I think it would be cool to Carrie Underwood concert, which we're going to in 3 weeks. It's very exciting. Not so explicit artist, obviously, but not
Justin Bieber.
Yeah, not Justin Bieber, but not like the Wiggles either. Someone in between. Another question that we got a lot of is the open versus closed adoption. 20, 30 years ago, closed adoption was like most.
That was
90% of the cases. The mom chose closed adoption, and the adoptive parents adopted the children and had to kind of explore explaining to them about adoption later on, and kind of
what happens.
It's hard because if they're 18 and they're just now finding out they're adopted, that's a huge bombshell. Like, they're just starting to discover themselves, and then they have to discover themselves all over again. So now most of the cases are open adoption, and it's a lot better for the adoptive parents, the adopted child, the birth parents do well with it as well. Maintain the contact. And it eliminates that question, too, of, who are my birth parents and why was I adopted? And so
it's a lot. They're finding it's healthier for the child.
We're part of a support group on Facebook that talks about parents that have adopted already, and it's just cool to see that they incorporated another member into their family. The birth parents are actually part of their family now, and they're treated as such, which is really cool. So they have that kind of unique relationship too that a lot of people don't have.
And the level of openness is primarily chosen by the biological family. It's whether it's just a couple pictures or a letter via mail, whether it's maybe a Facebook page, or maybe even we see each other every few months or so for visits and what have you.
Are you married? That's another question also we get from people that just superficially look at our page really quickly. Obviously we're getting married this year in October
7th.
It's very stressful wedding planning, but it's very fun too. Very looking forward to it. A question that is very tough that we've only gotten it a few times, but what circumstances would you give back a child that you have adopted? It's borderline, I don't know, offensive, kind of, to ask that question, because if you have a natural birth, you're not going to just give back the child. There's no giving back the child. Obviously there are other avenues, but it's just not not something that you think about. The only reason you would give up a child, the only reason that we would give up a child is if we could not support it. And obviously we can. We're going through the process. We know we're stable and we can support the child. And it's a courageous thing that happens when people say, hey, I can't support the child. But in this case, it's not okay for an adoptive couple to just say, I am giving the child up. There's no reason for that. So, kind of stung when we got that question, but I think, it comes from an okay place on the asker's part. It's just, I don't know, it's a hard thing to kind of answer. How many kids do you want? This is funny too, because
reality set in.
Yeah. After we got our first foster placement, we realized just how much work. People did tell us, it's a lot of work. Are you ready for it? And we were like, oh yeah, we're ready. We want 5-6 kids. We changed our minds a little bit after that, and the number decreased.
Yeah.
So, I think
2 or 3.
2 or 3, yeah. I was waiting for him to answer first. Would you consider twins?
We would absolutely consider twins.
Yes.
Actually, it's not even a question of consider.
We would accept twins.
Yeah. If an expectant mother chooses us, we wouldn't deny her based on that she's having twins.
We would know what we're getting into with that. That's a lot of work. Favorite movie? This is another fun question we got. Just a random question about us.
My favorite movie growing up was The Lion King. And still is.
That's actually my favorite movie, too.
We watch a lot of movies.
Disney movies are huge. We're part of the Disney Movie Club, so we have plenty of Disney movies coming in every month. So, our nursery is actually Finding Nemo themed. So, if you look on, or I think we posted a picture on our adoption profile page.
Well, our video got cut short, so Brian wants to say some sort of goodbye. And thanks for watching.
And we ran out of questions too, so it's kind of the perfect timing. But thanks for watching. If you guys have any more questions, we could make a second one if you're interested. So, all right, I'll talk to you guys later.